Okay, so this is my full review or my comprehensive review of the all-new Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 that I have right here. So if you happen to be in the market for this particular tablet or just for a budget tablet in general, make sure to watch this video till the very end. Let's go ahead and jump in. Like I always do with my full review videos, this one is going to be broken out into smaller sections just to make it more digestible. And before we jump into those, I want to answer one important question that came up about this particular tablet. Can you or are you able to transfer your apps from the internal storage into your micro SD card? Because remember, this one offers the option to expand that internal storage at up to 1 terabyte using a micro SD card. So are you able to transfer your apps to your micro SD card? The simple answer is yes. Some of you may remember that when the predecessor, the Galaxy Tab A7, when it first dropped, you were not able to transfer the apps from your internal storage to the micro SD card. Now that we have that covered, let's go ahead and jump into the design of this guy here. Now, this has seen a very slight update when it comes down to design, right? Some very subtle changes took place here, but yet it still makes this tablet stand out a little more than the previous Galaxy Tab A7. Now, although it shares the same physical features, you have, again, some very subtle changes that make it, look a lot more bold, especially these very sharp corners around the tablet, giving it a more boxier shape, and it makes it look even sleeker than the previous one. So now the feel, at least on the outside, is the same, but when you hold the tablet, it just feels a little bit more dense. Like you could feel that the inside is a little bit more dense than what you had on the previous one, and it weights a little bit more, and it gives that little hint of premium feel to this one. But anyway, let's go ahead and fly through some of the physical features that we have here. Starting at the top, we have a mic and 2 speakers, and we're gonna get a total of 4 speakers. So it's gonna be a quad speaker setup here, just fantastic for entertainment. We do have usual suspect, power button, volume rocker there. We have some mics around the tablet here just to pick up sound, and at the bottom we have a USB Type-C port which enables fast charge at up to 15 watt, but the charger that comes with the tablet itself can only go as fast as 7 watt, or it's a 7.5. Either way, it's half of the 15 watt. We also do have the headphone jack right here, which is always nice to have. You could just go ahead and plug in your headphones or the mic or whatever you like. And on the left hand side here, we have the micro SD card slot. Now on the back here, looking at the very smooth back, same deal as what we had on the Galaxy Tab A7. At the top, we have a single camera module, right? So you only have one camera there, and it is essentially the same camera we saw on the Galaxy Tab A7, the same one you find on the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, and so forth. So it's something that we already know. 8 megapixel. Picture quality is decent. It's not a flagship camera or anything like that, so don't expect it to take pictures that are as good as what you would find on the Galaxy S21 Ultra or anything like that. On the front side here, you have a selfie camera. This one is a 5 megapixel selfie camera. Again, the same one found on the S6 Lite and the Galaxy Tab A7. So 8 and 5 there. Now on that same front, you will notice that Samsung went ahead and kept that same uniform bezel on that display there, and it is of course laminated. So fantastic for just entertainment, especially media consumption. Now, one thing I want to say about the display, about the resolution specifically to that display, and before we even talk about that, this screen is slightly, a tiny bit larger than what you had on the Galaxy Tab A7. This is a 10.5 inches versus the 10.4 that we had on the Galaxy Tab A7. And like I said during my unboxing, the resolution here is a tiny bit lower than what you had on the Galaxy Tab A7, except there isn't really a palpable difference between both, right? So here you have a resolution of 1920 by 1200 versus 2000 by 1200 on the Galaxy Tab A7, but when you put them side by side, you can't really notice a palpable difference. So it's still a pretty nice display. It's a TFT display. Now, that of course was just a quick summary of the design of the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 that I have here. It does come in 3 different variants. You do have the silver, which is the model that I have here. You also have it in gray, and you have it in pink gold, I believe they call it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into specs and performance. And before we do so, I'm noticing that you're still watching the video, which may mean that you are enjoying the video, which if you are, of course, please do me a huge favor. Hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate it. It's a huge boost to this channel. All right, so let's go ahead and talk performance. Starting off with the platform. Some of you may know this already. This guy here is running a UNISOC chip. Again, to many of you who are familiar with Samsung works, you may notice that that's a kind of a huge pull from Samsung, to pull away from the typical Qualcomm Snapdragon chips or from the in-house, Exynos chip. But anyway, so it's a UNISOC chipset, but no worries. It still kind of lines up around typical chips that are put in this level of tablets, right? So the Snapdragon 662, for example, found on the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7 would be something that aligns pretty close to this UNISOC chip here, which is a UNISOC Tiger T618. Now, in fact, the Tiger T618 is actually slightly better in performance when compared to the Snapdragon 662 found on the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7. All of this coupled with 3 gigs of RAM for the base model, which is what I have here. My config here is 32 gigs of internal storage, expandable at up to 1 terabyte, like I may have mentioned at the beginning when I was talking about the micro SD card, and it comes with 3 gigs of RAM. So 3 gigs of RAM coupled with that T618, that UNISOC T618, make for a decent performance, right, for a budget tablet. Of course, if you go up to the next tier, let's say you were to pick up the 64 gigs of internal storage or the 128 gigs of internal storage, that would afford you an additional 1 gig of RAM for a total of 4 gigs of RAM. So 4 gigs of RAM for a 64, 4 gigs of RAM for the 128 gigs. You will also have, straight out of the box, Android 11. No Android 12, even though this released in the US in January of this year, so this month. It's out of the box with Android 11, and you do have One UI 3.1 loaded and sitting on top of Android 11, which in my experience hasn't been terrible, right? So if you are familiar with One UI, you're already used to using it on something like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite or even the Galaxy Tab A7, it'll be similar, right? So it offers that same user experience, pretty smooth, as long as you use it for what it was intended for. This is supposed to be a budget tablet, not a productivity tablet. So if you're using it for light to moderate level of tasks, you'll be just fine, checking emails, navigating the internet, watching movies, media consumption on here is actually excellent. So just like the previous model, it is pretty smooth. You won't really find a major difference in terms of just accomplishing daily tasks between this and the previous model. In fact, you can even use it for schoolwork, right? If you're just trying to, I don't know, watch your courses online and, take down some notes, save some stuff on here, you can do that with this. But anytime you try to get a little creative with your productivity level on this guy, yeah, you're definitely lagging. You will for sure notice that it will lag and it might crash. It crashed on me once when I was just like really trying to pile up stuff. It crashed just once, and then I tried again. It was just lagging and lagging. So I've only had one crash since I started playing with this guy. Now, the one advantage that you might immediately notice would be how smooth gaming is on this. It is a tiny bit better into PUBG specifically, and Call of Duty also for some reason seems a little bit more, it's smoother on here when compared to the Galaxy Tab A7. Don't worry, I will do a full comparison of the Galaxy Tab A7 to this one coming up very soon, probably the next few days also. But anyway, so gaming on here is actually slightly better. So if you were to, if you were in the market for this tablet because you don't want to buy the Galaxy Tab A7 because you do a little bit more gaming, that would actually be a good idea to move forward to this one. Now I want to go ahead and jump into cameras. Like I mentioned earlier, you get an 8 megapixel camera, single camera on the back here, and a 5 megapixel camera on the front, the selfie camera there. As long as the setting is well lit, you'll be fine. I always say, right? So as long as the setting is well lit, if it's a little dark, you definitely are going to see noises around, the picture quality. But in terms of just videos, if you want to do like Zoom calls and all that good stuff, the mics pick up the sound pretty clearly, and as long as it's well lit, you'll be just fine, whether it's just for work meetings, school, watching your courses online, interacting with, classmates. teachers, you will be fine with this guy. Now let's go ahead and jump into the battery section. Of course, battery usage is really going to be subjective to your type of usage, but just so you know, it is loaded with essentially the same size battery that you find on the Galaxy Tab A7, which is 7040 milliamp. So it should last you all day as long as you use the tablet as it was intended, right? Light work, moderate work, right? You might be able to finish the day and just end up having to charge it in the evening. But if you're a power user, obviously you will kill it before the end of the day, and you might need to charge it before that. But other than that, I feel battery life could actually, last you a good day for just regular stuff. I don't know what I call regular stuff, but just like to moderate usage, right? You use it a little bit, and you watch some movies, maybe play a few games, do some work, put it away, and use it again, and so forth. It's same deal as the Galaxy Tab A7. And as I mentioned, that same battery is fast charge capable at up to 15 watts. And before closing the video now, I just want to go ahead and answer some of the questions, some of the very important questions that you guys have asked. So I want to highlight some of the answers that I have for those questions, starting off with the Samsung S Pen. There was a question about, can this or does this support the Samsung S Pen? And the simple answer is no, it does not. But you do have the ability. So as an alternative, you could just go ahead and buy a capacitive pencil, right? Or a capacitive pen, like I've always suggested. So just pick up a capacitive pen from Amazon, eBay, online. You'll be able to find one, and you should be able to use that to take down notes. Sure, it won't offer the same experience as what you would get from like an actual Samsung S Pen. It won't offer all of the extra features and all that good stuff, but you should be able to have some of the very basic features that you need in order to take down notes, maybe do some drawing and all that good stuff. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which is, does this support Samsung DeX? Can you push out video signal? No to both, right? This does not support Samsung DeX. It's generally reserved for things that are more mid-range and flagship. So no Samsung DeX here, and no, it does not push out video signal. Same deal with even the mid-range. The Galaxy Tab S6 Lite does not push out video signal, even though that one now supports Samsung DeX. But anyways, it doesn't support Samsung DeX, but the alternative here is you can use Samsung Flow, right? It's just a Samsung app. You use that, you'll be able to use that in order to cast whatever you have on your display here. You can cast that to a laptop, a phone, or whatever the case may be. So you're able to extend that display to other devices. And the next question I've already answered, I believe, which is, of course, can you move your apps, the apps that you've downloaded on your internal storage, to your micro SD card after you buy your micro SD card and try to expand that storage, which, of course, the answer is yes. The other one thing I wanted to add here is that you don't have a fingerprint sensor on here, right? But you do have different ways of unlocking your tablet. You could use just face unlock using that selfie camera, or you can use a password, or simply no password, whatever you choose to do. Now, in summary, here's my take. I'm still not sure that this is your best bet out there when it comes down to budget tablet. And I'm not saying that it's because this is a bad tablet. I'm just saying because this channel always leans for value. I'm not sure that this is your best bet. I will give you more details when I do my full comparison of the Galaxy Tab A7 to the Galaxy Tab A8 here video. In that video coming up, which I'm already working comparing both tablets, the A7 that I have back there, I will be comparing both and tell you exactly which is the winner. Now, that being said, if you were in the market for a budget tablet and you decided to pick up this tablet, I would not be upset at you. It's still a good pickup, right? It's definitely a good pickup. Slight upgrade, to, as I mentioned, the Galaxy Tab A7, decent level of performance. You could do your regular stuff like a good budget tablet should do. It should take care of that type of business. And not only that, you are looking at a very robust, solid ecosystem. So again, if you were to pick up this guy, I wouldn't be mad at you, but I'm just saying, think about it. The first thing is for you to prioritize things, to make sure that you write down or you put down things that, the reasons why you want to go ahead and buy a budget tablet, right? So once you figure out those reasons, it will help you narrow down to either this or the Galaxy Tab A7. But we'll talk about that once we do the battle between the two. So I will go ahead and stop this video now. I'm certainly hoping that this was informative. Please, of course, don't forget to like, comment. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I will catch you in the comment section like I always do. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. And up until that next video, as always, stay safe out there.